there's a technique memory champions use to learn thousands of words fast. I started using it for languages and now I easily learn 100 new words a day. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it so that you can learn languages 10 times faster. My name is Miquel Tellería Mujica. I'm a hyperpolyglot. I speak 12 languages and I developed a fast and efficient language learning system at the Innovation Center of the University of Deusto in San Sebastian. I've helped thousands of people learn languages fast without wasting time. Learning a lot of vocabulary is extremely important in language learning because if you don't know the words, you can't understand or speak the language. I'm going to show you how to use mnemonic associations to learn 100 words a day or more in any language. The concept is simple. You create connections between the new words and their meaning using mental images and vivid associations. Your brain remembers meaning, emotion, and visuals much better than abstract information. So when you connect a new word to something memorable, you create stronger neural connections. You learn faster and you remember the information much better. Sounds complicated? It's really not. Let me show you how it works with some examples. Let's memorize a dozen German verbs, right here, right now. If you're learning some other language that's not German, this will work exactly the same. It works for any language. Also, these are things that came to mind to me when I started thinking of associations for these words. It's better if you use your own ideas, find images that suit you, things that work for you, right? Alright, let's look at German verbs and find something that sounds like that. Then we'll create associations between the meaning of the word and something that we found that sounds like that word. We're going to ignore the en ending of the German verbs because they all have that, so it's irrelevant. So we don't need it. Let's ignore it. Let's get started. The first verb is werden. It means to become. And werden sounds a little bit like warden. Spells almost the same. Yeah? It's werden in English. That's how you pronounce it. Or warden. So you imagine yourself becoming a warden. Like a park warden, or even better, if you watched Game of Thrones, the Warden of the North, Ned Stark. If you're American, you probably don't say warden, you say, or park warden, you say park ranger. Park ranger? So I suppose it's better for you to use the Game of Thrones reference instead of park warden. Imagine yourself becoming the warden. You're sitting wherever you are right now, and suddenly everything around you starts changing, your surroundings, even yourself, your clothes, everything about you, and you become the Warden of the North. You're next to Jon Snow and the rest of the characters from Game of Thrones. Just close your eyes and visualize it. Imagine yourself being there. Now come back to reality and repeat the exercise a couple times. Imagine yourself turning slowly or quickly turning into becoming the warden, right? Do it a couple more times. Maybe pause the video for 10 seconds and complete the exercise. Visualize yourself turning into the warden a few times in a row, right? By the way, you can use a different image if you want. Anything that reminds you of werden or werden works, right? Anyway, got it? Good. Next verb. Fragen or fragen. It means to ask in German. Visualize a frog fragging, so throwing a grenade at a question mark. That's how we know it's a question. Yeah, to ask. The frog frags the question mark, the question, and makes it explode. If you don't know what fragging is, look it up. It was a thing in Vietnam back in the day. Next verb, kaufen, which means to buy. Imagine yourself buying a lot of coffee. Again, ignore the N in the end. So, kauf, coffee. Sounds like coffee. So, imagine yourself, you go to a shop and it's coffee everywhere, smells like coffee, you even taste the coffee, there's so much coffee, and you just start buying coffee, lots of coffee, and visualize yourself paying for the coffee, right? Done? Next. Verkaufen, which means to sell. Kaufen is to buy, verkaufen is to sell. And here we're going to use coffee again, but we're going to add fur before that. So, fur, coffee, to sell. So, fur coat, coffee, and to sell. And to visualize to sell, we visualize a salesman. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. Very easy to visualize. You've watched the film probably, you see him on the phone, wearing the suit. Like in the film, he's just like selling on the phone. But instead of the suit he's wearing a big cartoonish fur coat. And also he's got a huge mug of coffee. He's still on the phone, just talking and talking and talking on the phone, like in the film, but wearing his fur coat and a huge mug of coffee from which he keeps drinking. And so you visualize the fur, the coffee, and the sell. So verkaufen is to sell. Again, pause it and visualize it a few times if you have to. The next verb is glauben. Glauben, which means to believe. So we're going to visualize a bunch of believers, religious people, worshipping a globe. Like this one, the globe. People just, for some weird reason, they're worshipping a globe. Next one is going to be essen, which means to eat. And this one is very easy. Just visualize yourself eating. So you look down, there's a plate there with food, for example, spaghetti or something else, and it's S-shaped, right? It's got this shape. The food has the shape of an S. The food has the shape of an S. You could alternatively visualize someone who looks like an S, who's S-shaped, eating a lot. So someone who's S-shaped, if you see him sideways, got a huge belly and a huge bum. And the more he eats, the bigger the belly and the bum gets, so he gets more S-shaped while he eats. Visualize it. Next one is sparen. Sparen. To save. You know the Spar supermarkets? I guess you call it them Spar. Do they exist in the US? Anyway, it's a supermarket chain here in Europe. It means to save in German. So imagine going to one of those supermarkets, and they've got a very distinctive look. But the supermarket is located inside a giant pink piggy bank, like the ones we used to have when we were kids to save money inside. Giant pink piggy bank, and the entrance to the supermarket's there with the Spar signs everywhere. Very easy to visualize if you used to have a piggy bank when you were a kid and you've been to a Spar supermarket. Next one, raten, to advise. This sounds like rat, right? So visualize advice, so an advisor like Silvio for The Sopranos, who was Tony Soprano's advisor, the guy with the funny hair, or the creepy guy who was advising the king in Lord of the Rings as well. But instead of the actor, it's a rat, it's a giant rat with, maybe Silvio works really well with his giant hair wig thing, but it's an actual rat, it's a giant rat, visualize it. And raten is to advise, right? The next one is antworten, which means to answer. So visualize a Q&A session, questions and answers. And this is a famous person, but that famous person is an ant. Antworten, right? Visualize it. Next, arbeiten. And this one has an A, a B, and a T. And R, B, T turn into robot. So you can imagine yourself going to your workplace, for example, and all your colleagues have been substituted with robots. Visualize that. If you want a different type of association for this one, there's a much darker option. Simply go search Arbeit macht frei in Google, search it, images, and if you see that, you won't forget either of those words. Next one, fahren, to drive. Visualize yourself driving. But what sounds like fahren, far, right? You're driving really far. So you visualize yourself driving, and you've got the GPS, and you see that you have to drive really, really far. Just imagine somewhere really far away that you could drive to. And also, you look at the steering wheel, and you realize that you're driving a Ford, because it's also an F-R sound, like fahren. Yeah, so you are driving, fahren, a Ford, really far. Does that make sense? Next one is führen, which means to lead. And if you can't create associations for this one, I'm going to try to stay monetized, so I'm not going to talk too much about the Austrian painter, but you get the idea. Führen, to lead, and I think that's enough before things get too crazy. That's how it works. You get the idea, right? You can actually make learning fun using this technique. Just use your imagination and your creativity. By the way, the more shocking or weird the image is, the more memorable it will be. Sex and violence work really well as well to make images memorable. And anything that's shocking or slightly wrong, weird, will work. Just get creative with it, right? The more you practice, the easier it will get. And you don't need to do this for every single word in the language. There are a lot of words that you will learn easily because they are similar in your own language. For example, in German, there are a lot of words that are similar to English, like trinken for drinking, gehen for going, sehen for seeing, etc. A lot of verbs are similar. Those you don't need to visualize. Context is enough. And you should learn words in groups of similar words. Word families, words related to each other, because then you only have to create associations for one word, and all the other ones, you learn them in context easily. What's a word family? I'll give you an example. Act, action, active, activity, actor, actress, activate, activation, react, reaction, reactive, interact, interaction, counteract, and so on and so forth. All of that is a word family. That's a lot of words. They're all related to each other. If you see them in a list with an example sentence with each one, you only have to create a mnemonic association for one or two of them, and the rest of them you'll understand them in context. So use mnemonics. So you can use mnemonic associations to memorize one or two words out of a word family, and the rest of them you learn them in context. This is how powerful mnemonic associations are. This is something you should do every day from now on if you're serious about language learning, because you will learn 10 times faster this way. Take a list of words you want to memorize, create associations for them, and then review the list one more time with active recall. Simply read the words in your language, and without looking, try to remember how to say them in the target language. Then check if you say it correctly or not. This is extremely effective. It will help you consolidate what you've memorized with the associations. Also, make sure to get some input in the language as often as possible, so that you review all those words in context. You can simply have the radio or a podcast on while you do something else. I recommend starting small and being patient. You need some practice to get good at this. You can create 20 or 30 associations per day in the beginning, and then slowly increase the amount of associations you create per day. Once you get better, you can create 40, 50, and even 100 a day or more. This is a skill you get better at with practice, and there's really no limit to how many words you can learn per day with it. Memory champions can memorize hundreds of words in a few minutes and thousands of words a day easily. I can't memorize that fast, but 100 words a day is still super fast compared to 99% of language learners out there. So you should start using this technique as soon as possible. The more you practice, the better you'll get at it, and the faster you'll learn. So it's definitely worth doing. If you want me to make videos about memorizing the vocabulary of a specific language, or if there are specific words you're struggling with and you want to memorize, let me know in the comments and I'll make more videos. Also, I already have a playlist with screen share tutorials of different exercises I use to learn languages fast, including memorization of vocabulary lists in different languages using mnemonic associations. So you should check those out if you want to learn this technique.